Hello everyone. As you know, I don't have much time to work on my videos that I do on Matplotlib and ancient technologies, but still I have enough footage to come back to this activity as long as I have a free window of opportunity. So this is the one that was filmed perhaps in August this year. You see, it was summer, and I went to Tartarian Street. Uh, it's called the Moskvarechye district. It's a southern part of the center of Moscow. It's located uh, across the river from the Kremlin, and so I lived here for like 2 years, like maybe 200 feet from this house where we're located right now. And I wanted to walk around those places one more time and see if it still has some evidence. Why Tartarian? Because this district is called, the street was called Tartarian Street, and as we know, Tartarian, it looks exactly and sounds exactly like Tartarian, only without one R. Although there is a nation in Russia and it's called right now Tartarians, I know they were called Bulgarians before that. So nations changed their names, but the streets still keep the secret, live in those names, sticking to those names, remember those names. Just like Perunovsky Perulok was named after Perun, the Russian Zeus, and it still keeps this name, even though it's 21st century and Christianity completely won the game. As you can see, all the symbolism of Tartarian is still left on some of the buildings. But you know, this is only the buildings that were left. Those were bombed, destroyed, burned are not here. We cannot see them anymore. Just imagine how many cities, how many towns were burned and destroyed since this last flood. So we're lucky to see the evidence, we're lucky to witness it. And you know, living across the street from this house was a good time. I was always walking around towards the subway station. I didn't have much time those days to ride the car because there were a bunch of traffic jams in Moscow. This is the center, and this is Sunday morning, so no one's around. I like to film on Sunday mornings, but mostly Moscow is full with traffic jam in the working hours, and so it's really hard to move. And most of the time I walked and used the subway. I like those lines. I always watched them and thought, what a great architecture here. And I like these streets, I like this district, because I really enjoyed walking around on the holidays and the weekends when nobody's around, nobody's sneaking around on their cars, no one's, walking around. It's just a completely free streets. And you know, Moscow is famous for its eternal reconstruction. You can always see something reconstructing. You can see the buildings, how do they look underneath the ground, and a bunch of crazy evidence which is still coming up on my channel. So stick around and don't forget me. Subscribe to all the researchers of the Matplotlib and the guys who research the ancient technologies and ancient mysteries and histories. I'd like to say uh, personal greetings and many wishes and thanks to such guys as Arjun Hartman, the Flat Earth Conspiracy Channel with the Lori Frary, Lawrence Wright. They helped me a lot to start and ignite this process because I never had any time, and it's kind of was giving me some spiritual impact to start. You know, those houses are really interesting because when you look at it, it's just an ordinary house, although it's very expensive to live here in this area because it's close to Kremlin and everything is expensive, you know. But I wonder what those people really know about their houses. Do they actually care when they walk around, look around? Why those windows are sticking from the ground? Nobody cares, right? Nobody understands that this is not just a church, maybe an ancient power station that produces the wireless electricity. Nobody knows that. Nobody actually researches that. People having their all from their lives, they earning money, buying cars, buying expensive properties, paying taxes, or maybe not paying taxes. They don't looking at those buildings, at this evidence in the plain sight. Just look at this building. You know, this line in the middle, almost closer to the top, is probably the roof of this previous building. So like 2 floors are probably underneath the ground. Look at this anti-symmetrical way of construction, and it's so beautiful that it can be this way. So it's totally reconstructed. This whole area is reconstructed. The 90s were so crazy in Russia, and a bunch of rich businessmen tried to buy something in Moscow, reconstruct it, and have yourself a splendid office and splendid business place and address. Probably close to some site, tourist place and stuff like this. So they reconstructed the whole streets a bunch of times because they like laundering the money on reconstruction and all this total business of changing old pavements for new pavements, old paint for new paint. So it's like this. It's always a cycle of a business, and this is also erasing the evidence. People earning money on erasing our true history. And this is the way the conspiracy goes, because there is no conspiracy. You just have to pay money to the people who are doing their jobs, and they're gonna be erasing it just like that, and don't even think about it. You know, I talked to one construction guy. He said, yeah, I've seen a bunch of those underground windows and doors, but I never thought about what you're saying. This is supposed to be a greatest conspiracy. I said, this is no conspiracy, because it's in the plain sight, so it's a no conspiracy. Anyone can research, anyone can make a video, start a YouTube channel, create a post on Facebook, maybe send some pictures to any of already started channels. You just have to, walk And I like the people that are newbies in this, that are just, freshmen, because it's really a fresh blood to this movement, fresh blood to the club, so-called club of mudflood, because there's a club of flat earth and there was a little club of mudflood, but now mudflood is really big. I think like 15 channels in English and maybe like 20 channels in Russians already spoke about it, and maybe half of them are doing permanently only about the mudflood and fake history. But as I've said before, all the theories supposed to be researched more and more. Even this electric catcher on the roof on this splendid tower is not still proven good enough to say it's an electric catcher, although we have a bunch of pictures of fireplaces, spires, and all this stuff. We still have to prove it. I got a bunch of pictures on Facebook collection, and I'll probably make a combination and a review on them, and it will be really interesting because people sending me pictures of old mausoleums in different parts of the old houses from the different parts of the world. So this is not a local event, trust me. You can do it and you can walk around and see it by yourself. Maybe a couple of days ago we had a show, a chat with the new guys, Rosette and Richard, and I had made a promo video on the new chat. This is coming up maybe tomorrow or really soon, so I'd like you guys to share your opinions on that chat after it, because I've said a lot in it and probably will continue those chats and we'll expand on them. So subscribe to those channels and comment and say what you think, because guys are really trying to get in the topic, and I hope there will be more, because every new researcher gives something new. Like Conspiracy R Us, he brought up the topic of liquefaction, which was touched by us in Russia like 3 years ago. We completely forgot about it, and yet, although it could be the technology of creating something with the hills and the mountains and seismic activity to be used as a weapon, a direct weapon like we see right now in California and all those places, that could be using the direct weaponry towards population, towards producing the panic. This is a panic management. They're testing us, watching us, continuing all those barbarous technologies of raising the evidence, of threatening the people, of repression. This is all the same merry-go-round. The cycle continues, everything is repeatable, so who knows when the next reset is gonna be. We have to be aware, and the next step is informing. The step after informing is igniting and engaging. So people supposed not to be just informed, supposed to be engaging and producing new content, filming new evidence, because this is the way to hide the evidence. and we're supposed to film it. We're supposed to film it for the future generation. Maybe guys in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, you will not find those houses anymore. They're gonna be totally reconstructed, because each year we lose something. The construction teams destroy and hide step by step all this evidence. So you cannot like see it everywhere in the front of in the front lines of the house. You have to walk around, and you know, from the back, from the side, because sometimes you look at the house and see just the low windows closer to the ground. But if you dig, if you excavate it, you'll see not only windows. Believe me, there's maybe 2 or 3 floors underneath. Sometimes I was thinking just about 1 floor, but no, 2 or 3 floors. So it's like 5 to 15 meters deep. Think about it, how deep it could be. So it's not a liquefaction, because if you have a liquefaction, the house walls are gonna be cracking, leaning, and dipping their noses towards the object of liquefaction, the flow, and even sinking. But those houses, as you can see, are standing still, perfectly safe. Yeah, they excavated sometimes, and this is not a problem for those who excavated them, because they got their money, excavated, and left. So guys, I want you to think about it. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you later.